Gentlemen, let's broaden our minds. Lawrence?
Superfriends, the shorts and lost episodes, are part of the Superfriends animated television series produced by Hanna-Barbera that ran on the ABC network from 1980 to 1983. The episodes from 1980 and 1981 are referred to as the shorts because the hour-long episode would feature 3 new 7-minute short mini-episodes. In 1980, this was followed by a more typical half-hour rerun, and by 1981, the running time was reduced to only the half-hour of new shorts. By 1983, Hanna-Barbera would produce their final set of shorts. However, these episodes did not air in the United States until the mid-1990s as part of the Superman-Batman Adventures syndicated package over on the USA Network. Hence, the episodes which aired overseas in countries like Australia, but were not shown in the States so as not to compete with pre-existing syndication packages, became known as the Lost episodes.
Say, do you have your Justice League emergency radio? I can't find mine.
Returning heroes to the shorts were mainstays such as Batman, Robin, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, Superman, the Wonder Twins, Hawkman, Hawkgirl, the Atom, Samurai, Black Vulcan, Apache Chief, The Flash, Green Lantern, and Rima, the Jungle Girl. Hippolyta, Queen of the Amazons, along with the Amazon Warriors of Paradise Island, and even Lois Lane and Clark Kent would make return appearances.
This is a job for Superman.
Some highlights from the 3 seasons of shorts include the beat in the episode titled The Makeup Monster, where we see the Caped Crusader has a portable bat lab in the trunk of the Batmobile. This of course reminds me of the portable bat lab featured in the trunk of the Batman's automobile inside the pages of the Man of Steel issue number 3. A purple ray projected by the giant robot villain, the Iron Cyclops, who seeks to steal the Earth's gravity for his own planet, should not be confused with the healing powers of the Purple Ray from Paradise Island.
Your injuries are severe. If you wish, a session with my healing ray could save you several days of recovery time.
I'm fine, Diana.
After being drawn into a strange warp in outer space in the episode titled Warpland, Batman and Superman come to discover a strange alternate universe where the heroes are anthropomorphic animals known as the Superzoons. Their membership comprised of Superfrog, Octoman, and the Hippo Hulk, who reside at the Hall of Zoon, intend to transform Batman into an anthropomorphic Man-Bat, and Superman into an anthropomorphic Super Eagle. Although there is no direct correlation, one cannot help but to think of DC's most famous anthropomorphic funny animals turned superheroes, Captain Carrot and the Zoo Crew, or even that time that Thor turns into Thor Frog in the celebrated Walt Simonson run. The episode, titled Once Upon a Poltergeist, features the prominent locale of the Wayne Building located in Gotham City. Generally referred to as the Wayne Foundation building in the DC Comics, the famous charitable organization began its life known as the Alfred Foundation after the presumed demise of Wayne's butler and confidant Alfred Pennyworth inside the pages of Detective Comics issue 328 by the year 1964. By Detective Comics, issue 356 from the year 1966, with the rumors of Alfred's demise having been greatly exaggerated, the Alfred Foundation's name was quickly revised to that of the Wayne Foundation. Of course, this building, now named after Dr. Thomas Wayne, is one of the tallest in all of Gotham City, and would serve as the corporate headquarters for Wayne Enterprises inside the pages of Batman issue 307 by the year 1978.
Pay a quick and casual call on the Wayne Foundation and check on security there. Robin and I will follow.
When Superman and Batman accidentally release the self-proclaimed Demon of the Dream World in the episode titled Prisoners of Sleep, they begin to face nightmarish circumstances in the dreamscape, and are only freed from sleep's trap by the grace of Wonder Woman and her magic lasso. One is hard-pressed not to be reminded of the Justice League's encounters with the vile Dr. Destiny, who has a similar modus operandi.
Your nightmares have just begun, my friends! Just begun!
The episode titled Elevator to Nowhere is primarily notable in retrospect, due to the main villain of the piece, Dr. Wells. At the time, the nefarious scientist who creates a time machine to displace the Atom and Wonder Woman throughout the time stream was more than likely named after the writer of the Time Machine, H.G. Wells.
Dr. Wells' laboratory is just ahead, Wonder Woman.
I don't know who this Wells is, but the message he left on our emergency scanner sure sounded urgent.
However, it was pretty amusing in 2014 to see a great number of websites report mere Facebook speculation that the character Dr. Harrison Wells from the Flash live-action television series may have originated from this short episode. Especially when everybody already knows that the Dr. Wells in Superfriends is secretly the crazed leader of the Decepticons, Galvatron.
Fools!
I'll escape into time!
The humans! You fear the humans? They are weaklings!
There is an incredible similarity between the titular Incredible Crude Oil Monster that creates havoc for Aquaman and the Hawks, and Hedorah, Godzilla's foe from the 1971 film Godzilla vs. the Smog Monster. Green Lantern and Superman face off against Martian invaders completely unrelated to J'onn J'onzz in the episode titled One Small Step for Mars, while the outlandish episode Invasion of the Gleeks features another set of invaders. This time, though, a group of Exorian monkeys arrive on Earth to invade the planet, led by a talking Exorian monkey voiced by Michael Bell, whose evil voice sounds very similar to the voice he used for the Constructicon leader Scrapper from the cartoon Transformers.
There's Teletron 1 for Megatron! Destroy it! Destroy them!
Somewhat appropriately, Superman makes short work of Mecha Gleek, but would go on to suffer the pranks and schemes of that mischievous imp from the fifth dimension, Mr. Mxyzptlk, in the episode titled Mxyzptlk Strikes Again. Quite similar to his reintroduction to the Superman mythos in the post-crisis era revamp from John Byrne, where he animates a two-dimensional billboard of a typewriter into 3 dimensions in order to hastily create his randomized name, Mr. Mxyzptlk has a magical typewriter that turns mere thoughts into reality in this episode.
It'll be a classic even Shakespeare would be proud of.
Many classic stories of Superman's strange transformations from the original comic books are alluded to in the Superfriends shorts. In the episode titled Circus of Horrors, renegade talking circus animals transform Superman into a super lion. This is a callback to Action Comics issue 243 from the year 1958 titled The Lady and the Lion. When a Mediterranean sorceress named Circe feels snubbed after Superman rejects her marriage proposal, the evolution serum she spikes the Man of Steel's drink with transforms his head and hands into the head and paws of a lion. Although Superman finds the antidote to restore him to normal in the records of the Bottle City of Kandor, the same story is later retold in Beauty and the Super Beast, with a slight twist for fans of the Legion of Superheroes included inside the pages of Superman issue 165 by the year 1963.
Holy mutation, Superman! What about your extra arms and legs?
Don't worry, Robin. The effects of the red kryptonite should wear off in a few hours.
The episode titled Revenge of Bizarro sees Superman's backward counterpart Bizarro use red kryptonite to give Superman multiple sets of arms and legs. While red kryptonite is generally responsible for some wacky transformations, you're more likely to find Jimmy Olsen or the Amazing Spider-Man turned into a human octopus than Superman. A later episode, titled Bizarro World, has Superman's imperfect duplicate going back to the Red K well by tricking Superman into entering a mine filled with red kryptonite on Bizarro World. This time, the red kryptonite has the effect of turning the Man of Steel into the quote-unquote goofy Superman, who resembles Mad Magazine's mascot, Alfred E. Newman. Superman would purposely put on a similar look in the story titled The Two Faces of Superman in order to teach Lois Lane a lesson in humility inside the pages of Superman, issue 126 from the year 1958. This story was later reprinted within the Giant Superman Annual, issue number 3, from the year 1963, along with the aforementioned The Lady and the Lion. This Alfred E. Newman look would be paid tribute inside the pages of Superman issue 11 from the year 1987, as Mr. Mxyzptlk displays his fifth-dimensional powers, transforming Superman into various nods to these classic Silver Age transformation tales.
You better than watching movies, Superman!
One of the standout episodes from this collection of shorts is the episode titled The Krypton Syndrome, where Superman is transported back in time prior to the destruction of his home planet and actually prevents its destruction. Unfortunately, the adverse effect this has on the present-day timeline creates a world without Superman, where the Legion of Doom was victorious against a team of Superfriends without the Man of Steel's presence. Although he is pained to reverse his home world's salvation, he does so to prevent the disastrous alternate future it predicates. This short also reminds me of one of my favorite Superman stories from Superman issue 141, titled Superman's Return to Krypton. Billed on the cover as a great three-part novel in 1960, written by Superman co-creator Jerry Siegel and penciled by artist Wayne Boring. Superman's Return to Krypton is one of those classic Superman stories that has all the great staples of science fiction. Superman returns to his alien home planet of Krypton by means of time travel. While pulling a Back to the Future and witnessing the origins of his parents' relationship firsthand, he stumbles into being Jor-El's lab assistant, much like Superman runs into Jor-El in the episode The Krypton Syndrome.
All I can tell you is that I am a friend.
Jor-El and Lara would later introduce the Man of Steel to a movie star named Lila Laral. Of course, Superman knows her home world is destined for destruction and a tragic romance ensues. Jonathan and Martha also manage to get in on all the Marty McFly action, as Superman secretly helps his adopted parents get together as well by exposing Jonathan's rival suitor for the young Martha as a no-goodnik.
Hey you, get your damn hands off.
Seeing the adverse effect he's had on the time stream, Superman decides that he must try to save his people before Krypton explodes. What he didn't count on was that Brainiac then shows up to shrink and abduct the city of Kandor. Now all the hard work that Superman did to build an interstellar Noah's Ark has been pulled out from under him like an old throw rug. Superman, of course, eventually escapes Krypton's destruction and manages to return to his own time, but now has an added dimension to the heartbreak of losing his entire world. I remember back when J.J. Abrams was supposedly writing a script for a new Superman trilogy, and the synopsis I first read on Ain't It Cool News back in the day was pretty off. Krypton plays a key role in the screenplay, having never actually exploded, and government quote-unquote agent Lex Luthor is ultimately revealed to be from Krypton as well, showing off his superpowers at the end of the film.
Do you believe a man can fly?
Nevertheless, my main takeaway from reading the unproduced screenplay was that they should do a modern update with the classic story from Superman issue 141 as the basic framework. You could get your Kryptonian setting for the duration of the movie without contradicting established canon. Have a star-crossed romance between Lila Laral and the Man of Steel, and introduce a live-action Brainiac as the built-in villain. Superman's Return to Krypton would make for a great Superman flick, or at the very least, a kick-ass cartoon with a more strict interpretation done in the Batman Brave and the Bold style.
And here is the latest hero to fight the illegal border crime. Superman!
Thank you, Governor. We Superfriends had no idea that Dorado wasn't illegal when we let him join our ranks. I'm on my way to deport him right now.
Yeah, good job with that Superman thing going on there. And how did you come to this great country yourself?
The last of the 4 multicultural superhero additions to the Super Friends, El Dorado, makes his debut in the short titled The Alien Mummy by the year 1981. The Hanna-Barbera created hero has a Mexican background with Aztec influences, along with a vast array of powers and abilities. Though he only appears to use this ability once, El Dorado can be seen changing his mask and growing larger to frighten away alien invaders from Aztec ruins in his premiere episode. Clearly El Dorado has superhuman strength, as he can be seen pushing large, solid blocks of concrete onto an alien spacecraft, as well as his defeat of the powerful new god Calabac in a gyro jousting tournament on the Moon of Games. El Dorado often uses telepathy as a means of communication, typically with other characters who have some degree of telepathic sensitivity, such as Wonder Woman with her invisible jet in the episode titled Pallet's Perils.
Using his powers of telepathy, El Dorado sends a thought message to Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman! Wonder Woman! Are you hearing me?
Telepathic message from El Dorado.
Wonder Woman, I love you.
Oftentimes, in comic books, telepathy and telekinesis can be tandem power sets, or even get confused by the writers, and Lex Luthor, who has appropriated the powers of the Super Friends, including those of El Dorado, can be seen using his quote-unquote telepathy to control a pilotless version of Lex Luthor's warsuit in the Super Friends The Legendary Superpower Show episode titled No Honor Among Thieves. El Dorado has what the Legion of Superheroes might call hologram vision. Beams projected from El Dorado's eyes would create three-dimensional holograms, creating illusions of beasts, aliens, wild dogs, sea serpents, and ice walls. Even Lex Luthor was stopped dead in his tracks by one of El Dorado's hologram wall projections. Even though we can see that flight is part of El Dorado's power set in the intro to Super Friends, the Legendary Superpowers Show, as he hovers alongside Superman and Black Vulcan. Typically, in the actual episodes, he frequently got around by using his cloak to teleport him from place to place.
I've got to act muy rápido.
Years before the advent of home video, or the Cartoon Network reruns in the late 1990s, a friend and I had a constant disagreement over which Super Friend disguised himself as Superman in the Super Friends The Legendary Superpowers Show episode titled Darkseid's Golden Trap. When Darkseid attempts to render the Man of Steel powerless forever with a rare chunk of gold kryptonite, I was convinced that El Dorado stood in as Superman to give the illusion that Darkseid had succeeded in his master plan. I thought maybe my old buddy was conflating this episode with issues of World's Finest because he would swear up and down that Batman was the one who took Superman's place in the episode. Of course, this was the same buddy who swore up and down that the trailer to Transformers the movie touted that it was 3 years in the making rather than 2.
You got the time! 2 years in the making!
But it turns out we were both right. Sort of. El Dorado uses his hologram vision to disguise Batman as Superman to take the gold kryptonite fall for Superman.
Not quite, Darkseid.
What? 2 Supermen? What is this trickery?
It was easy, Darkseid. Merely an illusion. You used the gold kryptonite on Batman.
Of course, another crazy thought I had as a kid was that El Dorado was simply another stand-in identity for John Jones, the Manhunter from Mars. The Martian Manhunter and El Dorado had frighteningly similar power sets, from telepathy to Martian vision and teleportation that could just as easily have been invisibility combined with super speed. For example, in the episode titled Super Clones, Brainiac is tricked when El Dorado disappears from his energy cell prison, but it's almost like he's turned invisible.
Adios, Brainiac!
It's impossible. They can't have escaped. Nothing can get through my energy cell.
You're quite right, Brainiac. But a clever mind can get around it!
It wouldn't be the first time that the Manhunter from Mars would take up a completely different superheroic identity. The character of Bloodwing, from one of my favorite eras of the Justice League, would ultimately be revealed to be an identity impersonated by the Martian Manhunter. Great minds think alike, and the connection between El Dorado and the Martian Manhunter has been touted by a great many online websites and podcasters, including the idle head of Diabolou, whose producer I had the pleasure to meet during my trip to HeroesCon 2017.
It's time to take a little trip, and pronto!
El Dorado would go on to be a regular cast member of the Superfriends, the legendary Superpowers show, fighting off Lex Luthor in his war suit and the ersatz puppet master character called the Doll Maker. He also made a brief appearance in the follow-up series, Superpowers Team Galactic Guardians, in the episode titled The Death of Superman. This television exposure would have led to his inclusion in the unproduced fourth series of Kenner's Superpowers toy collection, but alas, a fourth series of Superpowers toys was not to be. Nearly 25 years later, El Dorado was later immortalized in plastic form in Wave 17 of Mattel's DC Universe Classics line. While the bio of the DC Universe Classics figure lists El Dorado's true identity as unknown, I found it amusing that the bio card of the Superpowers knockoff figures released by Industrial Toy Works lists El Dorado's secret identity as Fernando Escadon, which is actually the name of the Mexican actor who provided the voice of El Dorado on the Superfriends.
I'm on my way, compadre.
In 2013, El Dorado was reimagined as a teenage kid known as Eduardo Ed Dorado Jr. on the second season of the television series Young Justice. He is portrayed by the actor Freddy Rodriguez, who I am most familiar with as the character El Rey from Robert Rodriguez's half of the Grindhouse film called Planet Terror. Eduardo is first seen in the episode Before the Dawn, having been abducted by the alien race known as the Reach because of his metagene potential. By the episode titled Runaways, we learn that the metagene, along with the experimentation from the Reach, has activated Eduardo's latent teleportation abilities. In the episode titled The Hunt, Eduardo joins his fellow Runaways on a rescue mission to save the Young Justice team members who originally freed them from the Reach's clutches. Finally, in the second season finale, titled Endgame, Eduardo is part of a team of 20 two-man squads sent to combat the Reach's magnetic field disruptors all over the world.
Sounds like there's nothing left to discuss.
Later in 2013, eagle-eyed viewers may have spotted El Dorado in a cameo appearance in the direct-to-video feature film Scooby-Doo! Mask of the Blue Falcon as a banner during the Mega Mondo Pop Comic Con Appaloosa. By late 2016, I found myself tickled to see El Dorado's first comic book appearance as the leader of a team of Mexican superheroes called Justica inside the pages of Suicide Squad, Most Wanted, El Diablo, and Amanda Waller, issue number 5 by Jai and Cliff Richards. El Dorado's most recent appearance to date was in the 2017 feature film The Lego Batman Movie as one of the celebratory participants of the Justice League's anniversary party held at Superman's Fortress of Solitude.
Muy bien, Superman! You did it!
In the final analysis, getting to discover there were lost episodes of Superfriends that me and my friends had never seen before in the mid-90s was like a Doctor Who fanboy uncovering one of those so-called irrecoverable Hartnell or Troughton episodes that was thought to be lost to the ravages of time forever. It was a fantastic feeling. Ultimately, while the shorter format for the Superfriends shorts might not rank as highly for me as the standard half-hour episodes would, they are still enjoyable. Bite-sized entertainment that features some of my favorite DC Comics characters. If you've seen and are a fan of all the other Superfriends series, there's no reason to miss out on this incarnation.
Why no?
Through sunshine and shadow, from darkness till noon, over mountains that reach from the sky to the moon, a man with a dream that will never let go, keeps searching to find El Dorado. So ride, only ride, to the end of the rainbow, ride,
You better than watching movies.